And we have a very special guest joining us on the show today to help us do exactly that. Among others, we have Angel Broking's CEO, Vinay Agrawal, joining us. Vinay, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. Firstly, I would like to understand from you, how is it panning out for Angel Broking? How are you guys operating out of homes? And what's been the experience of working from home for last couple of weeks?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, Ajay. So I think this lockdown was all of a sudden, so I don't think so anybody was prepared to work from home. But over last close to now 6 weeks, we have really learned, how to work from home and still ensure that the customer gets best of the services. One of the advantages of stockbroking is if you see, it's completely digital, I mean, there's nothing physical out of it. And Angel Broking somehow was already prepared. We have already moved into complete digitalization over last 3 to 4 years. So all our process was completely digitalized. So whether you talk about opening the account, whether you talk about connecting to the client through mobile apps, our advisory engine, the rule-based advisory engine that we have built called ARQ. So all of them were digitalized. So we were able to really serve the clients extremely, satisfactorily during this whole close down time. And now people have now got used to working from home over last 6 weeks. All teething issues more or less have got resolved. So I think this is a new normal for us, and we have been able to work smoothly.
Vinay, I'm keen to understand from you what are the kind of dynamics which are playing right now on the broking industry. Sure, some of the companies like Angel Broking have been ahead of the curve as far as adoption of technology and digitization is concerned, but not many probably are doing it and have been thinking about it very seriously. How has the industry coped with this sudden working out of home, at the same time being forced to operate because it's fallen under essential services, markets are not shut? How are you observing all these factors?
So if you look at the industry, Ajay, we can say there are three. I mean, you can probably divide, the three kind of players in the industry. The large players who have completely moved towards digitalization, the large players who are into both, physical as well as partially digital, and then there are small players who are primarily more and more physical, and they carry to they really support the niche customers. So in terms of large players like Angel Broking and some others who were large as well as they've completely moved towards digitalization, I think they have only got they have only seen volume increases. So we have been acquiring a lakh customer over last 2 months. And which used to be much lesser before COVID. Our activity has gone up by 50%. Number of trades has gone up significantly. So large players with digitalization have seen a huge jump into the businesses, and they have been able to support that. Then comes the second set of players, who are large, but they are not necessarily fully digitalized. So they're physical as well as digital. I think they've been able to manage their regular flows, decently well. But I think the worst impacted would be the small players, who does not have digital at all, and they're finding it really, really tough to open accounts. They're finding it really, really tough to let customers trade. Work from home more or less has been adopted by the industry. So I think, across large, mid, and small, everybody has started this whole phenomenon of work from home. But I think the biggest beneficiary is large players, and I can see, consolidation kind of happening into this industry, and this COVID has kind of really pushed it.
Right. Vinay, talk to us about your own digital strategy of one, executing well the overall operations, two, gathering new clients in times like these. Is it helping you, coming in handy to increase your market share? At the same time, smoothly operating the company, servicing your clients, because you guys have been working on it before there was an absolute emergency to go in that direction. You saw it come. So talk about your own strategy in the digital side.
Yeah. So what really happened, Ajay, because we had kind of consciously taken this call, close to 3-4 years back, that will completely move towards digitalization. So what has happened over this, 3-4 years, we've been able to create each and every process is completely digitalized. So without any user, interface at all, So for example, if I talk about customer account opening, so we were kind of the first ones who really brought this whole concept of instant account opening. I mean, I'm saying as the customer completes all these formalities, uploads his documents, do all these Aadhaar verifications practically on a real time, which means 60 seconds or more, he gets a user ID and password through which he can log in and start trading. So you see, that's a radical shift from the old method where it used to take hours or sometimes days, for them to open the account. Then you come to the customer onboarding processes. Now, I mean, we all know with the emergence of all this mobile thing, everybody has moved into mobile. So, we have rapidly and, upgraded this whole infrastructure and really created a lot of great features, for customers to trade on mobile with all the facilities, with all informations, real-time news updates, advisory, which is helping customer to onboard these systems, learn it quickly. The whole, if you look at the mobile platform, they are so intuitive that, customers don't need really anybody to train them. I mean, it's so intuitive that you just download the app and then you start, doing it everything yourself. Then this third part comes towards advisory, which was like earlier, if you see, it was more physical, where, the RM will call up the customer and kind of explain what to buy, how the market's looking like, So there also, with the advent of this whole digital thing, you're able to push your advice directly to the customer. And here what you do is, Angel has done two things. One is, we have launched this whole platform called ARQ, which is more rule-based system, engine. So it analyzes, billion data points and then kind of come out with recommendations. So that is one part of it, which is automized, and you're using rule-based engine. The second part of it was, how do you give a personalized and customized service to your clients? So, we have also built, something we call it, recommender engine. So based on the customer profile, based on his trading pattern, based on his age group, based on his income profile, and we also have this, risk appetite questionnaire. If customer fills it, based on that, we really have the full information about the customer likes and dislikes and his risk-taking ability. So we then put specific recommendation to the client. So within the app also, we have created a section, where they are specific, it's called your recommendation. So those are the recommendations which are specifically focused towards the client based on his risk profile, based on his, wider, spectrum of what he likes, dislikes, and, what should be his preference. So combine all of this together, is giving really a good value package to the customers, and it is helping them. Yeah, you're saying something.
Right. Vinay, let's talk about markets. What kind of investing strategy are you formulating when you sit with your team? What kind of data points are you reading and recommending to the host of clients? What's your analysis of the situation of the investing landscape right now?
Yeah. So Ajay, I think, it is very important for us to understand this COVID-19 is a pandemic, which is really huge. I mean, in terms of impact, if you ask me, I believe, the impact of COVID in economic could be as high as, global financial crisis of 2008. I mean, some people also, brightly say that it can be compared with the Great Depression of 1930s, So I think till the time we are clear about the vaccine and the cure, really coming into place, I think the situation is extremely dicey. I see a lot of customers in a hurry to go and buy stocks because they are available cheap. But I think, considering the uncertainty and the kind of impact it can bring to economy, we have been telling one thing to our customers regularly, you have to invest, but very, very cautiously. This is not the time to put, just, invest lock, stock and barrel into the market. This is a time where you have to invest more, on a SIP method. So you have to invest on a monthly method rather than a lump sum method, because the times are really, really uncertain. The impact it is going to create on economy, I think it was very, very difficult even for the best of the experts, best of the analysts, to predict. Because, the real trouble is you just don't know when this vaccine, when this virus will come under control. So, and the lockdown, India has done great by creating the lockdown. The spread of virus has been really under control. But the kind of impact this lockdown is going to, put into the economy is going to be humongous. So I think, at this point of time, considering the market situation, it is best for the investor to invest cautiously and be very, very careful in terms of investing, which sectors to invest. They have to be very, very choosy, and they should not invest in lump sum. They should invest, on a monthly basis.
So Vinay, what kind of approach are you recommending to your clients across the country? What's the outlook for the next 1 or 2 years? if one is keen on or focusing on one, preservation of capital, low volatility to portfolio, on the other, reasonable return, what kind of asset allocation or strategy, how does it look, the roadmap for next 1 or 2 year period?
So as I said, the uncertainty continues, so I think, we should be prepared that, this uncertainty may be existing for another a year or more, so considering that, it is best that, you have good liquidity. I mean, I'm talking about each individual employee, because we know jobs are at stake, there are, salaries getting cut, so each individual has to ensure that first of all, he keeps enough liquidity for his, day-to-day, livelihood, and then the money that he can really invest, so here, as I said, we have to have a conservative approach. You have to invest month on month. Second, the time horizon. People should not feel that they should invest now and maybe come out of it quickly. So I think the time horizon for investment into the equities and asset class at this kind of juncture should be minimum of 3 years. So it has to be. If somebody is investing into the market now, they should keep in mind that the time horizon should be between 3 to 5 years. Considering the volatility. The third important aspect is you have to create a portfolio which is more diversified, but you also have to look at the sectors, and then be a little more choosy in the sense, we all know like aviation, hotel, consumer, real white goods industry, capital goods industry, automobiles, these are the sectors which may take a little more time to revive, so you have to really look at the sectors like, which are more, essential services, which are more, rural focus, you have to look at sectors which are more digitalized in the nature, in the sense of, you look at IT industry. So those are the sectors which are likely to revive faster than compared to some of the sectors, which will take much more longer time. So the advice to customers is, be cautious while approaching. We have more monthly approach, keep the duration of investment pretty high between, not less than at least 3 years, and keep enough liquidity to manage, day-to-day livelihood.
Right. Lastly, what kind of measures do you see from policymakers? RBI has already taken a lot of decisions to help liquidity in the system and for lending in NBFC sector. But from the government side, there is talk of stimulus, some measures, reforms on the state front on labor, etc. already been announced. Do you think that's essential for, obviously it's essential for arresting growth, but what are your expectations as an industry participant?
Yeah, I think our government has been fairly proactive in terms of controlling the spread of the virus, the kind of early lockdowns that they did, which really helped us to control the virus. Second, in terms of this whole relief package that they came out with, to ensure that, poor are really fed, there's enough food grains available to the poor, and you don't get into those kind of crises. And the RBI has been pumping in liquidity, but we have to all understand, this kind of economy needs real amount of economic stimulus. So I believe the government should come out with a very strong, stimulus package for the industry, because if the small scale industry, the medium sized industry and the large scale industry are really facing the kind of liquidity crunch, until unless you really come out and pump money into them, and we'll be into a real bad shape. Liquidity alone by the RBI may not be of help, because if really you start having more NPAs, I mean, then we are into real doldrums. And you look at an example of the developers, the way US economy really pumped in 2.5 trillion so quickly over 1.5 months, and my belief is they will keep coming out with more measures. So I think we have to take some learnings from this developed world and understand that this kind of situation that the government has to play another vital role, which is kind of ensure that the economy really does not go into the doldrums, and then it takes really long time for it to revive. So I think one important measure that I would want to see from the government is a large stimulus package, which has to keep kind of coming in across various industries, and ensure that NPAs are controlled and the companies don't die off, and then they are able to revive.
Right. All right, Vinay. Lots to discuss, perhaps next time very soon. But thank you very much for joining us on the show today with your thoughts and analysis of what's happening in the environment and what policy measures should be taken and how you are handling and hand-holding your investors across the country, of course, by adopting high-quality digital analysis, digital strategies as well.